Good evening and welcome to the Bitter Knitters podcast. It is Monday, July 16, 2018. My name is Jacqueline. Arthur's here.
Hey.
Ryan's not here. I think he's trying Princess Diana or something. Flinging himself down staircases and such.
Yeah. It was
So,
very dramatic.
Well, if anybody is dramatic, it's our Princess Ryan. So, let's talk about some stories. Now, there's the biggest news story everybody's talking about. We don't need to cover that. You can find it everywhere.
What, the World Cup?
I'm so glad that's done. It's, this is the thing. I'm not a huge sports person. I don't mind watching them sometimes. Not the kind of person that I used to watch hockey religiously, every single game, every time it was on. But I've kind of given up on that. I can't do it anymore. And I just can't, the World Cup lasts way too long, and all these people, I'm Brazil. Oh, I'm rooting for Germany. I don't care.
Yeah.
Leave me alone with your World Cup.
What? It is the biggest fucking sporting event on Earth. On Earth. Nothing is bigger than it. And, I always take exception to these anti-sport kind of people. You want to know what bridges fucking cultures and different people together? The love of sport. Do you know what I mean? I could fucking hate everything about you, but we could have a good fucking 3-4 hour conversation on football or hockey or, you know what I mean? I love sport for that reason. I truly, honestly do.
I just can't. This is the thing. These sports things, and not even just the World Cup, all these sports things last too long. Hockey season is 10 months long. And it's just leave me alone, hockey. That's why I kind of do like football, because it's a fairly short season, just a few months and it's gone.
That's the worst part about fucking American football, is that there's not enough.
No, it's plenty. Every Sunday, all day long.
But you watch these competition reality shows, you watch Survivor and Big Brother and shit like that. What's the difference? It's still a competition. It's still over months of fucking time.
Yeah, I guess.
It's just that I can't meet somebody from Qatar and immediately start up a conversation about their fucking love of Big Brother, but I can about their love of football.
True.
I don't know.
True enough.
I've heard a lot of people chirping, fucking running their mouths about fucking the World Cup and
I don't care about sports. I don't understand why people watch sports.
It's no fucking different. Why do you watch horror movies? Why do you watch fucking anything? Why are you into anything? If you're so fucking cool and you're cooler than it, then just go lie down in the grave. Because that's the fucking, that's the feeling I get, is when people talk like that, it's not because they genuinely don't enjoy competition. It's because they're trying to act like, I'm too cool for it. I don't got time for fucking watching competition.
Oh, no,
you have time to spout off, so how about you just fuck right off,
I do. My time is for, all my research that I spend for this podcast, 25 minutes of it.
And reality shows.
Well, I don't watch that many reality shows, honestly. I don't watch Big Brother anymore. I will watch the UK Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't mind some sports, and I don't mind watching. I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to the Olympics. I watch that, any sport all the time. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much. I don't know if it's maybe I just can't take all those obnoxious people driving around with their flags and stuff. I don't know.
Well, that's another thing that I dig about World Cup and Olympic time. Be fucking proud of the country you're from. Cool, wicked, awesome. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I like patriotism. I like people fucking, showing respect for the homeland and shit like that. To me, that's really fucking cool to see.
Yeah.
I got a Portuguese neighbor, and all we've talked about for the last month is the World Cup, and it's been fucking great.
Oh my god, I would hate that. Even when I have to, I don't know. Maybe it's because, like I said, I used to watch a lot more sports. I used to watch baseball all the time. I used to watch soccer. But I think this is the thing, is when I met Scott, he watched baseball and football. But he wasn't football, always hardcore. Baseball was, he watched it, but he wasn't hardcore. Now he just watches every single sport. And sports is on all the time. even that TSN radio show, that's a TV show where they just film the guy sitting in the studio talking on the radio.
Yeah, the insiders.
And he listens in the car, and I'm just inundated with it. So it's like I really become like hateful towards it.
Oh, I'm glad Liz is a little bit more open-minded because you just described me in my fucking life.
Oh, I freaking hate it. Too much.
I mean, we all do our things.
Any Toronto sports radio show, because all the people do is call in and talk about how bad every single sport and player is.
Well, yes, Toronto sports fans were jaded, were angry. It's been a long 20-some years of never having any.
The first week is like, we're gonna win the cup, we're gonna win the pennant, we're gonna do something, and then the next one, the next week is like, they're bums.
But at the same point in time, I mean, I've had this conversation a few times. If you're gonna, talk shit about Toronto sports fans, which is fair. I mean, we are fairly obnoxious.
Yeah.
I mean, in the realm of hockey, we are the New York Yankees. We are the LA Lakers. You know what I mean? Like the Toronto Maple Leafs, we are the biggest fucking team in hockey history, period.
Yeah.
There's nothing anyone can say. You might want to tote Montreal Cup wins over my head, but go fuck yourself. No one cares about the Frog Eaters. Like Toronto is the tits when it comes to.
I always say this about Toronto fans is even when Toronto is shit, and I mean, I remember in the 70s when they were real bad, they still sell out their stadium.
They've been
their arena
my entire life. I have no reason
absolutely
to be a fan of the goddamn Toronto Maple Leafs, but like, fuck you, I am.
The fans are loyal. I'll give them that. I mean, they're judgmental as hell, but they're loyal.
But I don't know. I do always look forward to World Cup, Olympics, Euro Cup, and any time where people can show pride in their national teams. I just like it. I like the feelings it brings about. I like the conversation it brings about.
Yeah.
I like the camaraderie that it brings about.
When we went to IKEA yesterday, I don't know if you've been to IKEA in Toronto. So they've changed it. So you don't pick up at the store anymore if you're buying a big item.
Yeah, you go to one of those like outlet things.
The warehouse. Yeah. So we had to go to the warehouse. So we walk in the warehouse and there's a TV with the World Cup playing. And I mean, there was a lot of people in there. Every single person was watching the game except for some lady who was like had her back to it with her phone on, and I'm like, same lady. But actually, I sat down and watched it until we had our thing ready. So
fucking A.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how can you not, in regards to anything, it doesn't even have to necessarily be sport, even if it's singing, like a battle of the bands, fucking knitting, I don't give a shit. How do you not want to watch the best of the best from around the world compete against one another? To me, that's fucking amazing.
Fair point.
Right? Like I just love it. It's what I love about sports.
That's what I do love about the Olympics.
Right? It's the best of the best competing against each other. Except for last year's fucking Winter Olympics or this year's Winter Olympics where the NHL fucked it over and hockey was not the best of the best competing against one another, which was very sad. And I'm not even saying that because I'm Canadian and we didn't win the gold. I don't fucking care about that. It's it's a fucking sham when you can sit there and be like, well, no, the best athletes in the world cannot fucking come because we want fucking money from the IOC. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking ruin the Olympics on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you best bet. Like, I mean, get ready. 2026, the World Cup's coming to Canada. If you're annoyed by it now,
have to
you better leave.
2-month vacation.
Yeah, you better fuck off because it's gonna be rough for people that don't like fucking sports. I'll tell you that much.
Hopefully. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know. I left Toronto when we had the Pan Am Games.
Yeah.
Because it was right up the street from me, and I really was concerned about traffic.
It was nothing. There was no increases like anywhere.
Really? I heard the highway was pretty bad.
It's what, the 401? The fucking gridlocked fucking highway from fucking like midnight to fucking, you know what I mean? Like that highway's always fucked. You can't you can't use that as a metric, you know what I mean? Like
well, I don't know. I didn't really want it to be around it. We left. But I mean, I don't know. I can't leave for a month or two here, so
we had
it's in like out on the west end of Toronto.
Oh well, are you anywhere near BMO Field?
Oh,
then you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nothing to worry about.
I mean,
I could rent out my house on Airbnb, so it's crazy soccer fans.
Yeah, you could. You absolutely could. I don't know. I love it, and it's going to be a good time. I'm really pumped that we're even considered for something.
There'll be a lot of great things for the city too.
Oh yeah. It's just, again, for North America. I mean, football is the biggest sport on earth, and I refuse to call it soccer. Like, I'm not Americanizing any of this shit anymore. You know what I mean? It's fucking football. Y'all motherfuckers play hand egg, suck a dick. Like, flat out. Like, the shit you play isn't football. That fucking thing never touches your feet.
Why did the Americans, when they invented their American style football, why did they change? Like, why did they come up with the same name that already existed for an existing sport?
You know, I've never heard an actual factual answer about this. I've only ever heard, like, conjecture. But the one
football, i.e. soccer, already existed.
Well, and that's the one explanation that I've heard that actually made sense. So essentially what it is that European immigrants were playing football, but because of whiners in the sports, they kept changing the rule and changing the rule and changing the rule until modern day hand egg was born. Yeah, that's the only explanation I've ever gotten.
American football came about from rugby, because it's kind of similar to rugby. I thought
it's very similar, except for, you know, all the padding and the girls that play. Like, it's funny, you know, like, 'cause here in Canada and the US, we have this feeling like Europeans are kind of pansies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we kind of do. Like, there's this
especially when you think of like a Brit, right?
Yeah, like, we think of these kind of little pansies, but like, have you guys ever heard of soccer hooligans? Have you ever watched a game of rugby? Even better yet, this is a weird, obscure sport they play over there, but it's a sport called hurling. Check that out. It's fucking football, lacrosse, and hockey mixed into one, where you're allowed to smack people upside the head with a fucking wooden stick.
No, they're crazy in Europe.
They're fucking
nuts. You're
not
even talking about sports, talking about pansies. They're freaking protesting in the streets all the time.
Yeah,
we get mad, and you know, we're keyboard warriors, you know, complaining that they're taking the Polish sausage out of Costco. You know. Did you see that story?
No, I definitely
People
did not.
Are like, their hearts are like, you know, they're making petitions and signing it to save the Polish sausage, because they're bringing in like a healthy burger and a healthy sandwich or salad or some shit.
It's like, the more and more I hear about this shit, the more I get really fucking angry at how privileged we are. Like, I truly do. Like, I'm so tired of hearing people bitch about the most innocuous fucking things. Like, oh, they took the sausage I like out. Like, okay. Like, it must really fucking suck for you losing a hand, bud. Like, what the fuck? Like, what do you want from me? Like, I'm supposed to sympathize with you over what?
And that we can talk about our first story then, because that kind of brings it into this whole Build-A-Bear thing.
Fucking idiots.
So this week, or this weekend, I don't know what day it happened, but in Canada, the US, and the UK, Build-A-Bear came up with this great idea. So I guess it's fairly expensive there to buy to get a bear. I think just the base bear can cost between up to even $50, and that's not counting the clothes and the outfits and the accessories. Your little bear. I've never been to Build-A-Bear because it's stupid. I'll just buy a bear, a ready-to-go bear. Sorry. So they had a thing. You buy a bear for your age. So if you're 2 years old, your bear costs $2. If you're 40 years old, I guess your bear costs $40. I don't know. But so people, of course, love a good deal and lined up in some place. Like in Britain, they were lined up for 9 hours. Yeah. In the America, 5 to 7 hours. Like, are you kidding me? This is like reminds me of And of course, they couldn't, you know, accommodate all these thousands and thousands of people who showed up to get a, you know, $7 bear. So they had to, you know, have cutoffs in the line and send people home, call the police because people were getting rowdy. And I've even read I don't know if it happened in America, but in the UK story I read, people sold their spots in the queue, you know? So if I'm, you know, 10th in line, I sold my queue spot for like, you know, £50. So
fucking A. If you're dumb enough to fucking pay it, like, you know? My thing is, it's a fucking teddy bear. Who, like, kids don't even fucking want teddy bears. Get them an iPhone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck off.
Yeah, this is all the parents.
Oh, absolutely. It's because it's cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm a fucking 18-year-old mother of 4, you know, it sounds nice that I can get all my kids a fucking, you know, a Christmas present, I guess, this time around for, you know, a few bucks.
This time around, Jesus. But, you know, like, it always reminds me of, like, for people who don't know, in Toronto, we had a discount store called Honest Ed's. And the guy every year the owner would give out turkeys. Yeah. Which, you know, was he didn't have to do that. I mean, it generated a lot of business into a store, but he gave out a free turkey every year at Christmas. But people would line up for even days in advance. I'm like, even when I was at my poorest, I always said, you know what, my time's worth more than standing in the cold for 7 hours.
Well, and
I could just buy a turkey.
Like you got 72 hours to stand in line for a turkey. How about you put those 72 hours to a job and
go
pay
shovel
for
some
a
driveways,
fucking turkey, like
something? Yeah, no, I never.
ridiculous.
I mean, like, I don't even at Costco. If there's a lineup, I don't even line up for the free sample. I ain't got time for that. I get mad at the people that line up and are stupid. Like, I mean, I was there and somebody's lining up for Rice Krispies. I'm like, everybody in the world has tasted Rice Krispies, okay? Unless they're from Africa or the freaking lost Amazon tribes, everybody has had Rice Krispies. There's no need to line up and be stupid for Rice Krispies.
Oh, no, I don't do fucking samples at all. Like, I'm just whatever.
I very rarely do. Like, literally, it would have to be like, I'm walking by and no one's there. And I'm like, okay, I'll take a sample.
Even then, no, thank you. I mean, like, you guys are making fucking minimum wage. You think I'm going to trust you cooking my fucking food and then handing it to me? No. I'm sorry. I don't want your fucking salmonella. I'm going to keep on grocery shopping. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, and here's Retro Raccoon saying, you know, she went with kids and saw a line like that. There's no way that she would stand for hours. And I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I work in a grocery store. When the kids come in, they're squalling and howling and carrying on. Imagine standing in a lineup. And if you didn't bring somebody with you and you got to go to the bathroom, there goes your spot in line.
I mean, I would have never been closer to suicide in my life than standing in one of those fucking lines. Like, like, straight up.
Or homicide, one or the other.
Well, no, I'm not going to kill someone's kid. I'd much rather just fucking end it for myself.
Oh, I'd probably kill the adults. Because the adults are what are worse than the kids in some cases.
Yeah, but, you know.
Remember the story about the freaking Easter egg hunt where the adults were pushing kids out of the way to get the eggs before the freaking kids could get it?
Yeah, I do.
You know, because, like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's people get dumb with kids, but I don't know.
They do.
So, I mean, it was a dumb idea from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, I do not understand how, like, the marketing manager or whomever was like, hey, you know what? This is a great fucking promotion that's definitely going to go off without a fucking
hitch. We've seen people stampede at Walmarts at Christmas time, right?
You know what I mean? Because everything that humanity has shown you shows you that we're fucking phenomenal. Like, we love one another.
We're very 1 minute away from the Hunger Games.
You know what I mean? Like, this is stupid.
One queue away from the Hunger Games.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
Well, and then so Chuck E. Cheese announced, because you already get shot in the ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese has announced that they're going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Half an hour. So you limit it to a half an hour of play for your age. So $2 if you're 2 years old, $3, you know, blah, blah, blah. So that should go over very well.
That's not a bad idea. And it seems like it's a little bit
limited.
Well, that's it. It seems like a little bit more fucking thought out than what the fucking idiots at Build-A-Bear decided to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. They should have did more like a maybe you know how like when you're buying tickets for something and you get the bracelet ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe sign up online and get your bracelet or your number or a time.
Yeah,
like an appointment
but then
to be there.
you're fucking, you know, the people that don't have ready access to the internet. You're not saying that they're not worth it. Trust me, I get it, but like in the world we're living in now, we have to take into account that
gotta be fair,
shit, right? Like,
gotta be fair.
I can't remember what it was I was seeing, but somebody was chirping about the advantage that kids have when they go home to a house with a laptop or a tablet and internet, and how much farther ahead they are than every other kid. And it's like, okay, I understand that, but you cannot fucking put another fucking child at a deficit because you fucked up your life and can't provide the same ship for your kid.
Yeah.
You know, nobody held a gun to your head and said, "Get pregnant, bitch."
Well, and there's, you know, as much as I don't want to be like judgmental, because I've had times where I did not have internet.
No,
my
exactly,
kids,
right?
My kids never, I mean, I got an old laptop from my mom that worked for a while for my kids. We got an old iPad from my mom that, you know, Logan just bought his first laptop that he used his own money for. So, you know, it's, you know, it is what it is, but you can go to the library. You can go to Tim Hortons. Go to McDonald's and get a drink and use the internet there. There's free internet to be had.
It kind of happened to me when I was in middle school. Now, luckily for me, my father took some computer engineering course. You know what I mean? So he learned how to build computers. So I always had a fucking computer in the house. And we were dirt fucking poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can remember kids going, well, it's unfair that Arthur can, you know, go on the internet and print off shit for his projects and whatnot. And I remember looking at him going like, I think it's unfair that your father owns 3 fucking working vehicles. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's unfair that
you're wearing $150 sneakers.
Right? Exactly. That I have to fucking take the tinfoil bag lunch to fucking school, and you get bought pizza every day. Like, it bothers me when people say that kind of shit when they're trying to, like.
Well, and that's even schools are doing that now. You can't bring in takeout food because some kids don't get access to take.
That's not my fucking fault. You know what I like? It's insane to me that we're taking out every fucking ounce of adversity in these kids' lives, you know? Yeah. In everybody's fucking life, I guess. Like, everything has to be fair. We all have to be equal, but we're not.
And you know what? At this Build-A-Bear thing, a lot of kids went home without a teddy. Life's not fair, man.
You know what I mean? And that's a great life lesson for them. Like, your mother or your father or, you know, your fucking sir, I don't fucking know, didn't wake up on time, didn't line up quick enough. Now you get to be disappointed in your family.
Daddy's gonna yell at the nanny and you know. Yeah. But well, what Build-A-Bear has done now, which is obviously makes a little more sense, and I think is probably a better strategy. They've announced that they're gonna continue pay your age, but it'll only be on your birthday. So you sign up ahead of time for their, you know, their group or whatever.
Yeah.
And on your birthday, you can get a bear for your age.
That's a smart. That's smart. That's great.
Join the club and get a bear for your birthday.
Because I mean, like I was saying, like, who wants a fucking teddy bear? I can't imagine Build-A-Bears are bringing in fucking billions of dollars a year in revenue.
I literally never. The only time I ever saw one was in the Walmart, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Same, right? Like, even that, seeing all the people in there paying fucking $70 for a fucking little Mountie bear, I'm like,
birthday parties in there and stuff.
Like, do you know what I could buy with $70?
Yeah. I could buy a pre-made Mountie bear in Hallmark and still have money left over.
I could almost get a gram of cocaine. Like, come on, people, wisen up here.
Priorities.
Get your priorities straight. Kid will be fine without a teddy bear. You know, cocaine goes real fast. Let's get to it.
So let's talk about. I mean, if this has happened in Oshawa, I might have blamed Arthur, but it happened in Wyoming. So there's a story. Somebody did it. They don't know who, but there's Powell, Wyoming. And, you know, they put out their beautiful pots and they grow them for the spring and the summer. And they have their city workers who take care of them. Well, they noticed June 29th that there were some strange looking plants in them. And they took them out, took them to the police. And another one was found a little bit later. And there may be more, but they are marijuana plants. So somebody stuck the seeds in there and let them grow.
For one, the fact that said person grew them from seed, bravo fucking like, you're a maverick.
People are doing a pretty good job taking care of these plants.
Like, you're a fucking maverick if you can grow fucking marijuana from a seed. Like, seriously, like that. It's one of the hardest fucking things to do. Ask anyone that plants tomatoes and have them describe to you how hard it is to grow them from seed, right? Like, it's very difficult. But, I mean, we used to do shit like that when we were young.
Oh, did you?
Oh, fuck yeah. We'd find somebody with a garden that was on, like, a fence, like a well-tracked kind of path kind of deal. And, we'd plant dope.
Oh, my God.
Whatever. I mean, clones only cost fucking $2, right? Like, you can go out and buy a fucking guaranteed clone for $2. It's $2 and it's a great joke. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
I thought it was. I thought it was fucking great. And chances are most of the people that ended up with a fucking surprise dope plant in their backyard never fucking bitched about it.
No, they wouldn't have. Well, I've seen stories. You know, grandma took care of the plant and then, there it is. And it's a marijuana plant and stuff. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, these are some, like super straight-laced squares in Powell, Wyoming, though, because they didn't even take it home.
Yeah, that's fucking odd to me. That's odd to me. I can't, like, 10 out of 10 cannot relate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just an unrelatable story. There is in no world would I be like, I would have done the same thing. Like, what? It's fucking free drugs. I have a
crime to report, officer.
Yeah, like, it's free fucking drugs. Like, unless the cops fucking, like, saying, hey, if you report some marijuana, we'll give you a fucking handy in the alley. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll consider it then.
I was going to say, what's your biggest prank like that? But, I mean, that's a pretty good prank. I think you've already achieved it.
I mean, it's horrible, but I want to drug somebody so bad.
Oh my God!
I know. Hey, no, not roofie. I don't want to rape somebody. Fuck off!
No,
like, I'm an asshole. I'm not a monster. Well, what the fuck's the point of a roofie?
Like make them unconscious or whatever.
Like, I got friends that are like me. They're well versed in taking drugs. So I want to like slip one of them a hit of acid or something, and just watch them fucking denigrate into a fucking acid trip. I know it's horrible, and I haven't done it, and I'm not going to fucking do it.
You could make a pre-pact and be like, look, buddy, in the next year, at some point, it's going to happen. And then the person's like, okay, cool, I'm open for it.
But then I'm opening myself up to get fucking drugged. And I've been drugged. It's not fun.
Well, why do you want to do it to somebody else?
Because fuck my buddies. That's why. Like, what's the point of having friends if you're not gonna...
to take the cookies when Arthur
I wouldn't do it to you. You're like, again, like, as I said, I wouldn't do it to somebody who I know couldn't handle it if once the shit fucking hit it. You know what I mean? I got a few friends that I know that the second they would be pissed and then they'd be like, thank you for the free high, and they'd go off on their merry way and go fucking hold hands with Smurfs or whatever the fuck you want. But we were at a bar one year for a buddy of mine's 30th birthday. And so me and my buddy Eddie, we're standing on the patio having a smoke, just shooting the shit, and this hippie guy comes up to us. He's like, hey man, you guys smoke weed? We're like, yeah. So he hands us this fucking joint and walks away. Me and Ed are like, fuck, man, sweet. Like, a free joint. Like, what? You know, how could this day get any better?
Oh, my God, never.
So, fucking, the next day, me and Ed fucking get a hold of one another. And we're both like, bro, do you feel all right? Like, are you kind of, like, sketched out? And by sketched out, you know, it's kind of that weird after feeling where you know, like, something's not right with your body. You know what I mean? Like, something fucking...
It's not the normal feeling.
And, like, again, me and him are fairly versed in drugs and, you know, the feelings and stuff, and we're starting to go through like, okay, well, it's not ecstasy because we'd be feeling this, it's not cocaine because we'd be feeling this, it's not. So we kind of figured, I mean, we're not 100% sure because obviously we didn't go get tested or anything, but we're fairly certain that he fucking rolled heroin into that fucking joint.
Oh my God.
So we start talking to everybody else that was at the bar with us that night, and they kept saying, like, you guys were fucked. Like, the two of you were on fucking cloud nine. Like, they had never seen us like that. So, yeah, I was drugged once.
Oh, my God, that's scary. I would
terrifying.
Never take that from somebody I did not know.
It's a fucking friendly hippie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Out of all the people, because it's a fair point. I've been offered drugs at a lot. Like, I go to concerts. Everyone's like, hey, man, you want to take this? No, fuck you. I don't know you. What the fuck is that? You know, but it's a hippie. It's this friendly, like, tie-dye shirt wearing, small as fuck, unassuming hippie. It's like, oh, man, this guy's got some, like, outdoor fucking dope. No, that shit was laced. No
Remember
wonder
I told you all my years growing up because I was always scared because all those stories about the laced joints.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just happy that it was, I mean, as fucking weird as this is, I'm happy that we've kind of figured out that it was heroin and not like fentanyl or you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the thing about now you really can't do that shit.
No, you got, you know, it's fucking scary out there for the casual drug user. But yeah, so that was my nearly date rape story.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was fucked.
I remember I don't know who was with them. This guy who lived next to your nan in Mornell. He lived across the hall from us. This guy, Shay.
Oh, Shay, right?
Yeah, Shay. Yeah, so we were hanging out with him and I don't remember who it was. Somebody else. They went and bought a joint from somebody, and I never did drugs, and so I didn't do it. Neither did actually. I was with Tara, and she didn't do it either for whatever reason because she always smoked, but she didn't do it. Maybe she was pregnant. I don't know. And whatever they smoked, Shay went blind for like 45 minutes.
That sounds like fucking ecstasy, MDMA, sassafras. I've had that happen. It's no fun.
Oh my God. We were like freaking out. I'm like, you need to go to the hospital. And he's like, no way.
Yeah, no, I went blind for about 40 minutes. I was very, very paranoid. Gosh. Yeah, I was, I think, 18. I haven't touched the shit since. I won't anymore.
Scary.
It's why I kind of get on to a certain somebody who is still currently taking a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, with how candidly I talk about drugs and my own personal drug use and whatnot, you know, I've never once said don't do it, you know, to anybody. I won't. I'm not here to fucking live your life. You know what I mean? I will always tell you my own personal fucking bullshit, like the worst story that's happened or something that's happened to a friend, or you know what I mean? Just to kind of open your eyes so you can educate yourself as to what you're doing.
Yeah.
After that, like after fucking going blind for a little bit, you couldn't pay me to touch fucking ecstasy or MDMA.
Wow, I didn't even know you could go blind from that. That's
neither
scary.
did I. Neither did I. But it happened. So, you know.
I'm going to tell you my best prank I ever pulled on somebody, and it was freaking classic. So I used to work at a tow truck company, and it was, we towed for the police. So it was a little bit more than just a trailer with a lot, right? So we were in an actual building. I worked as a dispatcher, and we had back offices. So the guy who did accounts receivable, he worked in the office behind me, and he would come in every day, and we were like really good friends. We hung out, him and his wife and Scott and I hung out all the time. So he would come in and he would change out of his nice clothes and put on like a little bit worse clothes, because sometimes he would drive the truck if it got busy. So he hung up his pants and he would hang them in the office, right? And he went out to get his coffee. So while he was gone, I took a condom and I put powdered creamer in it with a little bit of water, and then I dropped it in his pants pocket. So then he goes, so like, you know, later in the day when he goes into his pocket for whatever, he finds it and he's like shitting his pants. He's, you know, this is the height of AIDS. So he's in the bathroom scrubbing his hands. Someone put a fucking used condom in my pocket, and he's scrubbing it and scrubbing his hands. And I'm like crying with tears rolling down my face. That was the best prank I ever played on someone.
Making someone think they had AIDS.
Well, they didn't eat it or anything. They just touched it.
Yeah, I mean, we know now how, you know, that's not how AIDS
by the
works.
90s, this was the mid to late 90s. He knew he didn't get AIDS from touching a condom.
But even at that, though, I mean, it's not like information was that readily available. If he,
it was like for 30 seconds. That was a good prank.
No, that's funny. I mean, I'm not chirping you. You know. I'm not really big on pranks, though. It's not something I do.
I like nice pranks. I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, you know, grandma died. That's a horrible prank.
No, that's ridiculous.
Or like, oh, you won the lottery prank. Like people who print up fake tickets.
Yeah.
I don't like that stuff.
Because like even when we used to fucking plant dope in people's gardens, like we never looked at it as a prank. I mean, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But it's not like, you know, we were doing it to like, you know, get you. Like, because I don't know. To me, pranks are something you do to friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were doing these to fucking complete strangers that just happened to live on adjacent fucking streets to us.
Yeah.
You know?
And you walk by, you see the plant growing.
No, most of the time the plant would be gone immediately, because chances are they've seen it and they're like, oh, we're going to put this inside. I mean, like here in South Oshawa, at least, I can't speak for the rest of the city, but here in the South where I live, marijuana is very prevalent amongst everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you just smell it walking down the street.
Everybody. And it's been like this for a long time, right? So we knew that by doing this, we weren't causing anybody any real grief. You know what I mean? It was more just
no one was going to have a heart attack and die from
right?
it.
Like they weren't going to call the cops. There wasn't going to be some big investigation. It was more or less just somebody going like, I don't remember planting a fucking dope plant back here, but hey, fuck, you know.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Even like, I mean, I never really took part in it, but you know, I had a lot of friends that would steal pot plants from people's backyards.
Oh, I can remember hearing about stuff like that when I was a kid. You know, I remember babysitting for a lady who had one growing, and I was like, I didn't know what it was at first. And we had friends over. My friends are like, that is a pot plant. I'm like, what? And then they're like, yeah, that's a bong. And I'm like, what? Like I was like the most innocent person. I'm like, what? I was like talking to see that. I'm like, I'm babysitting her kids. Like,
I wasn't allowed to be innocent. I was kind of thrust into that shit as a child, right? I have an aunt and an uncle that hold no, or at least at that point in time, held no bars about fucking, you know, using marijuana in front of us. Yeah, so like I was very accustomed to marijuana.
I shouldn't have been as naive as I was, because I mean I was like that's the thing, like I was around it, but I just never realized like how many people used it, I guess, because I was like, oh, I'm a good person. Good people don't use marijuana, right? And then you realize as you get older, okay.
Yeah, that's a load of bullshit. Like this isn't reefer madness, and I'm stressed the fuck out, so I'm gonna smoke a joint.
Kids, right? Like you know, drugs. Yeah, I grew up in Just Say No, and this is your brain on dope and stuff.
Well, it's one of the things that's really bothering me now. I don't know how much validity to put into the story, as I haven't seen any like official statements, but according to a few Americans that I know, that the CBSA, no, that's the Canadian Border Patrol, whatever the American one is, they are now going to start issuing lifetime bans to any Canadian that is known to work in the marijuana industry.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because it's
even if you invest in the company, you get in trouble.
You could fucking be perma-banned from entering the U.S.
Well, and even our government is advising you not to say that you do legal marijuana when you cross the border.
Well, and that's it. So forever, the border agents could always say, "Do you have you recreationally use any illicit drugs?" And if you say yes, they can bar you. Right? That's their right. I hold no issue with that. But a lot of people are trying to equate it to I tried to come to Canada and I was turned away because I have a DUI on my record. Yeah. And I was trying to say, well, you understand that we're a crown country, right? So you can have a DUI, that's fine, but you have to have 5 years of no crime in order for us to give you a pardon.
Yeah.
That's how it fucking works.
We'll let you in after a while. Yeah.
We're not going to permaban you. The only people we permaban are murderers, pedophiles, kidnappers. You know what I mean? People that technically should be in fucking jail the rest of their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Those people get permabanned from the country. I can't see a single person arguing
even people
against
with
that.
drug arrests, like you said, the same thing. After a certain amount of time,
Yeah, 5 years.
Crime free, you can come back in.
Yeah, it's a 5-year.
They let Mick Jagger back, remember?
Exactly. Right? Like it's a 5-year stint, and it's just it's fucking crazy to me that these retaliatory kind of ideals are kind of moving their way into the public. Like, oh well, you know, if I can't do this, and you're gonna be banned for life. Well, okay, like whatever. I'm kind of done going to the States anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, I find
got
that
one more trip at least.
Yeah.
That's about. I don't know when I'll go back afterwards.
You know, and I even get mad at the people that are saying, well, I'll boycott the States because of Trump. Like, fuck you. You're an idiot. There have always been idiots down there and idiot leaders down there. There's always been idiots up here and idiot leaders up here. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
don't hurt the businesses, especially like border towns, like where you might go to
right?
Hamilton. Those people don't deserve, you know,
no.
Even though they might have elected that government, you know, they're still having their businesses. You got to help them out.
Well, and that's it, right?
I just don't have a lot of desire to go down to that ideological environment, I guess I want to say, you know?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the only reason I won't go after this. I'll wait a while and see. Like maybe something will come up and I'll want to go down to the States, but I really don't have much desire to go down there.
You know, in all honesty, I've talked to Liz about that. You know, she's done some traveling through the U.S. and I mean, not like I haven't, right? Like I've been through the States with my father, but you know, she's actually been to San Fran and, you know, dipped around, been to New York and what have you. But like, there's not really much there as far as I'm concerned, touristy, right? Like there's not a lot I want to see. The Grand Canyon, cool, big hole in the ground, like hoopty fucking ding dong, don't really care. You know, Hollywood, I mean, I can buy crack here, don't really care. Right? Like there's just not really that much. Like there's a few things I want to do, and the easiest way for me to do them is to go to the States, like shoot
I'd like to drive to Route 66 and just eat all the diner food. That's my sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, it's just I don't know. I just that one really it really rubbed me wrong hearing that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's kind of coming in.
I don't have a problem with buy Canadian. Like I like that people are looking for more Canadian things to buy because it's not only environmentally friendly, you know, it does help your Canadian brothers and sisters. But I'm not completely like I'm not looking at labels like, oh, this is American, not gonna buy it.
Do you know how fucking hard that is? You know what I mean? It's even with most Canadians and their fucking bastion of Canadiana, Tim Hortons is owned by a goddamn Brazilian corporation with an American holding. So buying a coffee that you think is Canadian is not. You're actually still fucking
you have to go to
money.
Timothy's or Second Cup.
You know what I mean? It's so fucking difficult for this whole, you know, buy Canadian, only Canadian thing. And the thing I love is I keep seeing people espouse this idea on Facebook. Yeah. Now let that fucking sink in for a second.
Yeah.
Like you are talking about only using Canadian on Facebook.
On helping the richest Americans get richer.
You know what I mean? Like it's I love patriotism and I love all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I hate how stupid people can be with it.
It shouldn't have. I mean, like really, if you want to buy Canadian, like I said, it shouldn't just start now. Like I liked when people were buying because they were mad that they closed the plants and people lost their jobs, so they were going to start buying French's. You know, it's not a Canadian company, but they were using Canadian tomatoes and they were in Canada. That's fine. I understand that. I like French's mustard or French's.
I don't like their ketchup. Their ketchup is shit. Their mustard's the tits.
It's vinegary. No, I like their mustard too.
Heinz ketchup all the way. I don't give a fuck. If Heinz ketchup has to kill 7 fucking pandas per bottle of ketchup, I don't give a shit. I'm still eating that fucking ketchup.
He loves Heinz.
Yeah, it's the tits. Like it's fucking great.
But that's it. I mean, I'm going to buy what I want to buy, and I don't care if it's American made. I'm going to buy it.
I just find there's a lot of misinformation within regards to this. Like, even the thought that you can, even as an American, solely buy American, you can't. You can't do it. We are, as much as, you know, Alex Jones has been trying to fight the good fight, we are globalists, and everything is intertwined. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, you know, he's out there and he's fighting the fucking front lines of the Civil War, but you just can't fucking do it. It is so impossible.
One day they'll speak of him and his bravery.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so let's talk about, we spent a lot of time talking about how the police found the Golden State Killer using DNA technology, using Ancestry or 23andMe or whatever it was called. So a new cold case has been solved. A 30-year-old mystery of a 8-year-old girl who was raped and murdered and left in a ditch 30 years ago in Indiana. Her name was April Tinsley. And the worst thing about this is one of those asshole killers, who like taunts the police and the families.
Yeah.
So he left a note 2 years later on a barn, basically saying, I kill 8-year-old Tinsley, or April Tinsley. Did you find her other shoe? Haha, I will kill again. And then 14 years later, they found 3 used condoms in different Indiana towns with notes attached to them, basically claiming responsibility for her murder. The DNA did match the murder, like when in 2004, the DNA in the condoms did match the DNA on April Tinsley's clothes and body. So they knew that it was the actual killer. So, yeah, this is a real psycho. And so what they did was they contacted the same company that helped find the Golden State Killer, which is called Parabon Nanolabs. To get a genetic profile, they tracked it down to 2 brothers living in Indiana. So what they did was they surveilled these people's homes and they took their trash and they found 3 condoms in his trash and got the DNA that they needed. And now he's arrested. He's admitted to it. Once they caught him and got him in jail, he admitted to it. So, rot in jail for the rest of your life, loser.
Yeah, it's been weird to me, like just the whole serial killer thing, like that whole kind of like how they just want to be infamous. Not famous. You know what I mean? They just want to be infamous. And it's just such a fucking weird thought to me. As somebody who, I mean, again, like I can't say that I chased fame, but playing music and being in bands and stuff, that's kind of what you're doing, right? Like you're chasing, not stardom, but you're chasing that to be known. Yeah. And I never felt that. And then the thought of like, I just did the most heinous thing a human being can do to another human being, which is take their life. And I want to be known for that. Like it's
like, and it's basically like, don't forget me.
Yeah. Right now, like even on the show here, I play devil's advocate a lot, where I will argue the opposite side of stuff. But this is one that literally just does not compute in my head. I cannot for the life of me in any light make an argument for this shit, or not even an argument, but understand that level of thinking. Like it's just so fucking weird to me. Like, why?
Well, and you gotta, like, I mean, that we know of. He didn't kill anybody else. They didn't track his DNA to any other dead people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty surprising, but he definitely didn't want them to forget that he had done it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously now, I go off of it a lot. Murder just rubs me the wrong way. Like, I'm not a fucking fan of murder, but it's a really odd thought to me, like how you do that. Like you leave that Hansel and Gretel fucking esque breadcrumb trail to you because you want to be caught. Well, if you want to be caught, just turn yourself in. Like, well, what's with the whole cat and mouse thing? Like, why is that so exciting? Why is that such a big draw for a lot of these murderers, right? Like a lot of them exhibit this exact same pattern of behavior where it's, they want to make a game of it.
Well, do you think it's because whether it's true or not, maybe they perceive themselves to be very intelligent and that they think that they're outsmarting, like somebody like the Zodiac Killer obviously thinks he's so much smarter. And obviously he was, because he's gotten away with it.
Yeah.
Smarter than the police, right?
Mm. Yeah, it's just, it's the weirdest thing to me. And now I'm not really big with the killers and stuff like that. Like my one buddy Dave, that's his bread and butter. All he ever does is watch documentaries on serial killers.
Oh, I love watching this stuff too.
See, and he's really into it, and he's turned me on, not turned me on, but he's shown me ones that I've never known about, like a lot of the other Russian serial killers and shit like that.
Yeah,
and even then, it's the exact same, and that's one of the weird things to me. Like I don't want to say his name wrong, but it was like Anton Klitschko or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And he was some Russian scout leader, and he fucking murdered a bunch of boys. He used to film himself hanging them. But it's the same thing. Like you're making these tapes, and I even at that point, like I cannot kind of understand the like, oh, you want to relive it and blah 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 blah, but you're still leaving a trail. You know, you're still like
a piece of evidence someone
can find like you are ensuring that you are fucking creating and leaving evidence, and you're doing it on purpose. Like it's just I don't know, it's fucked up. So and I mean, it's great that, you know, we're at a point, I guess, where we can use DNA from family members to catch people. Still as unhappy as I am that my DNA is in a fucking database. But you know what I mean? I get it. I understand. I respect it.
Well, and this is a lesson to you murderers and rapists. Burn your trash, buddy.
Well, that, yeah.
Like, don't throw your used condoms in the garbage. Burn them or flush them, rinse them out with bleach. I don't know what you got to do.
Don't flush them, because then
flush the other stuff out and you know, rinse out the condoms. I
was gonna say, because then some poor plumber has to come to your house and fish a handful of fucking used condoms out of the drain. Like that's not fucking fair to him. So he might be making $80 an hour, but no one wants to be elbow deep in your fucking used prophylactics. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. They're gross. Don't flush things down the toilet that shouldn't go.
No, not at all. Fuck.
But yeah, I mean, I find these fascinating, and I'm definitely gonna, you know, I'm gonna talk about them when they come up, because I think it's amazing that, you know, at least little April Tinsley's family is getting, you know, some justice. I won't say closure, but some justice.
Justice, yeah. There's no closure for someone fucking raping and murdering your kid, you know.
Yeah.
I bet you it does have some people on edge. You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you that this happening and this kind of becoming the norm. And
can you imagine if you're like your cousin or your sister's on Facebook, be like, I shared my DNA and it's going to be fantastic.
Right?
And you're like shitting your pants. Time to move to Thailand or something.
Right. And you're sitting there going like, well, you know, I murdered John Benet Ramsey and now I'm fucked.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's true.
Right. And I've thought that. Like, it's, you know, there should be some famous murders that should be solved now because of this.
Yeah.
But even at that point, and I also thought, so like, let's say with this whole like DNA mapping and what have you, let's say we can even prove without a reasonable doubt that like OJ did do it. You know what I mean? Can he be charged for the same? You're right. Exactly.
No. So not in America. They have double jeopardy laws.
Yeah.
So
right. So
charged with that murder.
Yeah. So it's kind of fucking weird at that same point in time, because like, as with my understanding of it, and I'm not an expert in this shit, but even if you are arrested and charged and it's thrown out, like it doesn't even go to trial or anything, you still can't be charged for that same crime again.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I don't know if it never went to trial. Like if you never went to trial, I guess if they wasn't enough evidence to bring you to trial. Mm-hmm. And that's why it was thrown out. I don't know.
Yeah, right. So,
but here in Canada, you can be charged like multiple times.
Yep, fucking right. Yeah. We take murder kind of serious.
Yeah.
Like,
get you.
Like it's. I know it's a novel kind of thought, but you know, we kind of feel like murderers should be punished. You know, we don't think that murderers should get off on a fucking technicality.
Like, well, you're too young, but I'm sure you've heard of the Guy Paul Moran. You know, killing the little girl next door, and he, you know. I think he went to trial. One time was a hung jury. The next time he was, you know, they said not guilty. And then the third time it stuck. And then, of course, years later, DNA exonerated him.
Yeah. Huh? No. Well, I mean, like, even look at what's happening right now with the Bruce McArthur, right? Like, I even enjoy here how our law will not charge you with all the charges and take it to trial until we fucking have everything on you. You know what I mean? Like, they are still
in there with, like, a fine-tooth comb.
Excavating, you know, they found more human remains, like...
Yeah,
it's fucking sick, but you know, I am glad that we.
That case in Oshawa that's happening right now, where you know they went back in. It's been what, a year? No, I guess not a year, but several months.
Her body was found last year. Well, her torso, was found floating in the lake last summer.
Yeah.
And they have just found DNA of a girl who went missing in 2018 or 2008. Sorry.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
I remember that.
And they went back in to find it. So.
Yeah, no, that whole thing's fucking weird. Like, it's.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when the full story starts coming out.
Because I mean, again, the charges are fucking. They're odd.
Yeah.
He's not been charged with murder. He's been charged with like fucking desecrating a corpse, essentially.
Well, maybe that's just what they're using to hold him until they can get.
I don't think it can. I don't know. Like, I don't know, but I don't think they can. Yeah. I'm fairly certain. It's either you charged with murder or there is no murder charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been a real pockmark on the city. That's for sure. It's caused a lot of shit.
It's sad because, you know, like murders happen everywhere, and you get crazy serial killers. I mean, this could be a serial killer. We don't know yet. But I mean, like, you know, there's crazy people all over, even in smaller towns or smaller cities. And, you know, it's not the city's fault.
No,
you know, a city doesn't grow with the killer grows in his own mind, right?
You know, I mean, Oshawa, where I'm at, we do have a bit of a reputation of being, I don't want to say lawless, but a very, very tough place to get along. Right, like we've had that rep for a long time. A lot of crime, a lot of drug crime.
Disadvantaged people.
Now it's been like this since, you know, I want to say the 70s, ever since the biker gangs took over and just kind of implemented that crime mentality. It got a lot better for a few years there. There wasn't a lot of violence. You know, I mean, typical fucking fist fights and what have you, but like no real violence.
Really bad was the late 90s when all the white people fled Toronto.
Yep.
And brought their crime attitudes there.
Well, and that's the funny thing. So this story's a little racist, but bear with me. I'm not being racist here. So Oshawa, the city itself, decided that we have a little bit better quality of life here. So we moved, I think it was 150 families from the Jane and Finch and the Rexdale areas to here. Right. Now, a lot of people here in the city were very, very fucking mad about that because they thought that it was going to increase crime and what have you. Now, that's the racist that I'm talking about, because obviously we're talking about people of color, like color, you know, families of color, I guess, move into the city.
Mostly black and brown families.
Right, exactly. So that's the racism shit I'm talking about. But the fucking great part is it actually quelled a lot of the crime because they were moving people here that were actually bad fucking people. That, you know what I mean? They actually shook the fucking foundations of these wannabe hoods and these wannabe thugs and shit like that, to the point where, like, again, the crime actually really did go down here, and I'm willing to say significantly reduced the crime here in my city. But now with this summer's drug war that's going on, violence has returned fucking everywhere in Southern Ontario, right? Like,
yeah, it has.
Yeah, it's been a shit summer.
It's been real bad out in the West End and Brampton and, you know.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Like, and I mean, like, you know, I said on a previous show, you know, like, our drug culture here in Canada is the exact same as in the States. It's fucking violent. It is so violent. You know, it's nothing but murder, and you know what I mean? Like,
well, you got people that, you know, I mean, once you get involved in that kind of crime, you have to have your, you know, your honor, your reputation.
Exactly. Yep.
And any kind of questioning or perceived threat to that honor.
You have to, right? You have to retaliate. You cannot be disrespected, because then everyone's going to walk all over you. Yeah. I don't agree with that sentiment, but when you're in a life of crime, I understand.
That's how crime works.
Right? Yeah. I understand. But yeah, no, it's fucked. It's so fucked up. I mean, I've never, except for when I was a teenager, maybe ever felt unsafe walking the streets.
Yeah.
I'm kind of there now, which does a lot for me.
I guess depending on the day and the area, I guess I'd be more nervous. I know one time Scott was coming home. He'd been out drinking and he was taking the bus home, and he did the shortcut through the woods, you know, from Simcoe and Bloor there. Is that what it is? Yeah. And a guy came up to him and was like, you know, give me your money. Yeah. And he was on that path right on the top of the hill. And Scott shoved the guy. The guy went down the hill.
Yeah, fucking right.
And came home. And then, like, a couple days later, they talked about finding a body. And Scott was like, oh, my God, I hope I didn't kill that guy. I'm like, you didn't kill that guy.
No. Actually, I'm friends. Well, I was friends with the body that was found there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was, you know, he was a good dude, but I hate saying he deserved what he got. But when you borrow money from the bikers and they say, pay us, and you say, go fuck yourself, well, you know,
someone's getting fucked.
You know, you kind of fucking made your own bed at that point.
Yeah.
But no, that exact spot that you're talking about there with Scott. I mean, back when I was in my last band, we were jamming just across the creek, right? So I would just through there fucking all night, every night. I never felt unsafe. I know I made a few people feel unsafe, and I still feel fucking terrible about it. There was a woman walking her dog that literally started fucking screaming when I came out from the fucking other side of the path. Like, literally start fucking screaming. I'm like, lady, like, I'm just going home. Like, leave. Like, just please don't make a fucking deal about this. Like, seriously. Like, I'm just going home. Like, I am not interested in raping you. Fuck.
Well, was she walking at nighttime? Was it nighttime?
Yeah, this is right, like 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Like, I'm not saying she deserves to be raped or a victim of crime, but like, why are you walking your dog at nighttime in the woods? Like, no offense, walk on the street.
Right, you know, and
like, it's dangerous for anybody to be walking there at nighttime. What the fuck?
dangerous for me, and I'll stick up for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never felt, I can't say I felt unsafe, but you know, it wasn't the fucking most calming experience, that's for sure. But
like, you gotta be on aware of your surroundings, I guess.
It kind of hurt me. Like, in all honesty, like, it kind of hurt me, like, her fucking freaking out and like thinking that I'm trying to fucking, you know, assault her essentially. Like, it really did. Like, it kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not that fucking dude. I know you don't know that. Like, I'm just a stranger fucking down in the creek at night, you know. But it just it really sucked, and it made a lot of dirty things that I kind of never really want to think about. Kind of, you know what I mean? Like, kind of flow through my head and go, yeah, you know, like, I can kind of understand why a woman would feel unsafe. And
well, I remember I used to take the all-night buses home, right? You know, you'd go so far, Scott would go one way, or my friend would go one way, and I'd go the next way, and I'd be standing at Danforth and Eglinton at like 3 o'clock in the morning waiting for my bus, right? By myself. And, you know, I mean, it was still a fairly trafficked area, which always made me feel a little more secure. I mean, then I'm walking into my building and up in an elevator up to the 12th floor by myself at, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
So that's one of the weird things here, though. Like, I always, even still now, like, I feel safer on the streets 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning than I do in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, if it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and you're a piece of shit, you know, chances are you're either drunk or high and fucking sleeping. So I don't really have to worry about you. And seriously, right? Like, you know, not to say that all criminals are fucking alcoholics, but all the ones I know are.
Well, I mean, a lot of, this is the thing, is a lot of, like, rapes or attacks on women happen in the broad daylight anyway.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's not as many, I mean, you still see them. You still see that they happen in the nighttime.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are in broad daylight, you know, 6 o'clock in the evening. Like, what the hell?
You know, and it's fucking, it makes sense, especially with the story I was saying about me walking through the trail the other day, the same Oshawa Trail, the trail that I frequented since I was fucking 11-year-old boy. There was a girl in broad daylight, or a woman, sorry, who was forced to the ground by some fucking man, and he sexually assaulted her and fucking bolted off into the woods. So it's not like these concerns are fucking, you know, unwarranted, but it's still like, it just, I don't know, it just fucking, it hurt me. Like, this woman, you know, kind of fucking freaking out like I'm a rapist. Like, it just hurt. You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like you said, it's in broad daylight, and that's a fairly busy trail, even in the middle of the daytime.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of people walking there.
It's nuts. I mean, this is just teenager ship to Canada Day. There was some fucking kid whose like face and throat was fucking sliced up down there.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucked, but I don't know. I still feel safe here, which is weird. Like, you know, I just spent the last 15 minutes talking about like how a buddy of mine was murdered and fucking, you know what I mean? But I still feel safe.
Look, this is the thing, okay? So like, was that boy, did he know, was he involved, like, was he targeted, or was it just a random attack?
Oh, no. It was a fight that happened earlier on in the day down at the lake during the Canada Day festivities.
So you're not living in a crime-style life, right? So the odds of you being just randomly attacked and assaulted
slim to none.
Are slim to none, because, you know, and then you also have to be like, someone's going to take a look at you and say, am I going to take my chances? Well, is this somebody that's going to have enough money, or am I going to be able to beat this guy, or, you know, intimidate him enough to get his money?
Well, that's the other great thing about, you know, kind of having roots here, even in a tough neighborhood, is I've been seen around. You know what I mean? And I've never been seen as a victim. So I don't think that I'm viewed as a victim or a potential fucking victim. I mean, I hope not. And if you want to try, I mean, by all fucking means, like,
it's going down fighting anyway.
Right, exactly. I don't really give two shits about it, but
yeah, I know. I never was afraid of somebody following me, or I'm trying to think back, like, you know, walking down the street. I never thought I was going to get robbed or anything like that. I mean, I walked the streets of Scarborough and Toronto. Yeah. Like I said, all hours of the night, and yeah, I think
there's a lot of like complacency.
Even my neighborhood, I feel fairly safe.
I think that's kind of what I was about to just say, right? Like, I think a lot of it is just complacency. Like, you've been there for so long, and you just feel safe. You don't, you know, like, something horrid might happen, but you know within the frequency of what it happens at. So you know not to be fucking too overly shook about it.
Yeah, exactly. Even like growing up in, say, like Marnell Court, right? Everyone's like, oh, Marnell Court's so bad. Like, to me, it wasn't. Because when the bad things happened, it was like to people who were involved in crimes and stuff, right?
Well, and there it is, right? There it is. And that's exactly it. Like, even when my buddy, you know, was unfortunately fucking murdered, it's like, well, again, you know, you live that life. This is what happens when you live that life. I'm fucking sorry that it happened, you know, but it's not to be you can't fucking say like it came out of the blue. You know, he wasn't a good boy fucking selling Bibles fucking door to door. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, yeah. Well, that's the thing. And I mean,
now the friend of mine last year that went missing and was turned up in the fucking lake, that one to me is a little more scary because nobody knows shit about it. Nobody knows how it happened, why it happened, who fucking did it, what it was over.
Was it an actual murder or was it like an accident? Like, was he drugged and then like jumped in the water and died?
No info has been given to anybody as far as I know. I mean, it was just very weird that he went missing in January and the spot in the lake which he was found was, well, divers were there. It was dredged. You know what I mean? It was a very rough winter. Okay. That was the winter when like the entire Toronto Island eroded away and shit like that. Yeah. So for the body to just be there, it to me is really fucking suspect. Like really fucking suspect.
It was searched.
How? You know what I mean? But yeah, that one's like it's tragic as fuck. I mean, it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
It really does, you know, and even I get mad when I hear people when they talk shit about the US and they go off with the crime statistics and stuff. And it's like, you know, you're really on a fucking soapbox right now to honestly sit there and down talk their nation when the same shit happens here. You know, it is bothersome. Like, you know, I talk about the differences between us and them a lot, but I don't think I've ever gotten on a soapbox and been like, oh, well, you know, we don't fucking, you know, we don't kill each other. Like, well, yeah, we kind of do.
We do. We have crimes.
You know, there's crime.
People are being shot all over, you know, Toronto and, you know, not just Toronto.
Nope.
All over the country.
Yeah, this drug war is fucked.
Yeah, it is.
It gets crazy to me. Never did I ever think
living in a neighborhood like that, because now I'm not living in that sort of neighborhood, right? Yeah. And people are having like literal like shootings and playgrounds and stuff. That would be making me more scared to be having to live there with children and stuff, obviously. Right now, I don't feel like I'm, you know, gonna be in the middle of a drug shootout. Most likely not. No. But you never know. I mean, shit happens.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a beef with that fucking playground story, and it's got nothing to do with the playground story itself. So Toronto's mayor, John Tory, said something before we knew who the suspects were. You're right. Now, the suspects still haven't been apprehended. They're still on the loose, but we know who they are. Now, the mayor called them sewer rats.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you know Desmond Cole. I don't know if you know. Okay. Yeah. So, now he is demanding an apology from the mayor, stating that he used racist terminology to describe these poor black men that were kind of forced into a life of crime. And I am so fucking mad at this because you are now excusing the act of two men, fucking full-grown men, who nearly killed two little fucking girls because, oh, my racism. Like, fuck you. Fuck you.
No, I'm not going for that. I'll talk. There is racism. They
absolutely
probably do have a, you know, start out with a bad spot in life, but that doesn't excuse you shooting at a playground at children. You sick fuck.
Right? Oh, well, they weren't his intended target, so you know they're just.
And they should have waited until the intended target was by himself.
That one really rubbed me wrong. It really fucking rubbed me wrong.
Screw you, Desmond Cole.
You know, and the fucking weird thing is if you would have asked me 4 years ago when he was still writing for the Star, I'm like, I love that guy. That guy has a fucking brilliant fucking perspective on the city. Brilliant perspective on the city. A perspective that I personally can't have. Even growing up in the same neighborhoods, like I still can't share that perspective. But he's went off the fucking deep end with this shit, and it fucking aggravated me.
That. Well, it's the same. I used to really like reading. Oh, what was her name? Christy Blanchford. Is that her name in The Sun back in the day? Oh, but in the last like 15 years, she went crazy. I stopped.
Yeah, no, it's just a shame. It's a fucking shame. Like I'm just so tired of that, of everything. Like, it's a disgusting enough crime. Leave it at that. Tory didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah.
He called a couple of low-life scum.
He didn't use the racist term thug.
Right?
Right? He said sewer rat. And I'm sorry, anybody who shoots at children is even worse than a sewer rat.
You know what I mean? And that's it's dehumanizing them. And that's racist all on its own.
They're not humans.
Boom. Done. You want you know, we talked about like people at the end of life and dying with dignity and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, the second you start fucking shooting near or at children, you deserve no more dignity. You're not a
shooting in a place where there were like lots of children. You know, there's something definitely wrong with you. I don't care what kind of respect you're looking for. You're an idiot and a monster.
Yeah, fucking A.
And a sewer rat.
Sewer rat. I like that fucking term for him in all honesty, especially for the fact that, you know, as Tori was kind of referring to, is that they're kind of in the sewers hiding right now. Like, we don't know where they are. We don't know shit.
Around. Yeah.
You pretty much are a fucking sewer rat. Like, but yeah, no, that one fucking irked me. That one really fucking irked me. Well, I mean, like, come on, let's stop with this shit. Like, you know, I have said this time and time and time again. Every single time that a person cries racism when it's not fucking racism is you're hurting yourself. Yeah. You are now turning someone like me who, again, might have some fucking, you know, was it implicit bias and shit, but who's willing to change, who's willing to, you know what I mean, to change my outlook on life, but you're turning me into a person that's just because fuck you, I hate you. And I hate you for no other reason other than your militant black power nonsense.
But no matter how much, you know, institutionalized racism and oppression you've faced, you can still rise above that, and you can still make a decision not to shoot at children.
Shoot at children, or shoot in a place where there's children.
We all know that that's wrong. We all know
that wrong. That one really bothered me, and I was upset that there was no real national news coverage about it. Not national, but just even in the city. Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that statement at all. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on all these websites constantly.
No, are you finally on Reddit?
I go to Reddit, but I just go to the news section for the most part.
Follow our Toronto.
Okay.
And it's just news stories about the city, missing people, missing animals, construction work. It's really great for anybody in and around the GTA.
Okay, cool. I'll look at that.
I'll send you a bunch of Reddit links if you want to.
Send them because
beef it up.
Reddit, because it's like when you got nothing to do, you can always go to Reddit. I go to like the ghost section sometimes, and then I go to like the missing person section, and I read the missing person stuff. Yeah, I like Reddit.
Oh, it's
like a forum. Like when I first got online, it was a forum, and
it was a forum, exactly. And it's the same format. You know what I mean? Like it's bullet styled comments and stuff. I like the fact. The one thing that I really do appreciate about Reddit, for anyone that doesn't use it who might be listening, is that you can't be an idiot.
Yeah.
There's literal economists and doctors, and you know what I mean? Like they're real smart people on it.
Like I originally got on because I was, you know, I wanted to talk about the Making a Murderer documentary. And so I got on, and I can't remember what the question. I had a question.
Yeah.
And I asked it, and people, lots of, I would assume smart people, they're like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I got, 5 or 6 different people answering the question. I'm like, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to know.
But the thing that I do personally appreciate about Reddit is you're not allowed to be stupid. People will call you out for peddling misinformation. Yeah. You know, I like that. It's the only reason as to why I get the truth into any of these stories. You know, they bar any type of speculation. You know, which I fucking love, because I don't need to hear your wild fucking fantasies about what you think happened. I want to know the fucking truth.
I went to Reddit when the Las Vegas shooting was happening, and I was reading the live points on it. Yeah.
Now there have been a few dirty pockmarks on Reddit's history with brigading and them fucking. Yeah. I'm fairly certain they almost got the wrong person arrested for the Sandy Hook shooting.
Well, I know that they had initially identified the wrong person for the Las Vegas shooting. That's why I didn't publish anything, because you do have people, as it's going live, it's a little harder to, the moderators to keep up, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's good. Anyway, we should end the show. I have to go out, so.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back Thursday, and